Welcome back, and I have a lot of good reads this time. March was a busy month, and actually, I have been very, very busy as well. So, I'm going to give you my top reads for March. We're going to start off with Crave by C.F. White. This is a really excellent read. C.F. White is a beautiful author. She knows how to weave her words in such a way that like entraps you into the story. This is taboo in the sense it's like a class dynamic. So we have Tristan, who's like from the upper echelon. It takes place in I believe it's London. It's definitely England, so that's very posh. They're like rub elbows with the aristocracy and blah blah blah. Like all that stuff. And his dad is like this big wig lawyer, I believe, and he's trying to get Tristan to be on the same path. And Tristan's kind of rejecting it a little bit because he wants to do work as a criminal defense lawyer for those who need help, so those not so wealthy. And on one of his escapades with his roommates, he comes across this guy and things happen. And this guy, who he doesn't know for a long time, which is I loved how they meet, and I love how like their stories intertwine. His name is Razor, and he is from a bad part of town. He is not upper society, of course. So that's where like the little taboo, I think, aspects of it come in. It's kind of like this cross socioeconomic ties. So Razor is trying to just make some money, help his sister out, who's like a teen mom. His mom is dealing, I'm pretty sure, with alcoholism unchecked. And he has non-legal means of making money. He's actually a little bit high up on the rungs. He's not terribly high up in this book. He is in charge of, I think, what they call a line. There's a lot of slang in here, and I kind of like that we get to learn like British slang and culture as we like move through the book. So there's a little bit of that going on, but the characters are very complex. They have a lot going on. It's kind of like an emotional read at the same time, as like there's this connection between these two who think they're never going to see each other after this one night. And interestingly enough, their paths do cross another time or two, and then they just can't seem to stay away from each other. They both, like, as their walls come down, because they're both guarded in different ways, but as their walls come down, it was really interesting seeing how they created this safe space in each other. And then the ending is definitely a cliffhanger, but I believe they're all coming out very close together. If the second one's not already out, it will be soon, and then the third is going to follow after it. I cannot wait. I am very much looking forward to seeing how everything kind of plays out. These guys are from completely different societies, and yet they see something in each other that resonates. And I just like, if you like feel like stories that are gonna hurt you, I believe this one's gonna hurt before we get to the ending that they both deserve. But it'll be very well worth the wait as we go through it. I've read other CF White books. She's an amazing author. If you haven't checked her out, I do highly recommend. This is a good one to start with, I think, if you're like leaning in and you're like, you want to check her out. Up next is a new for me author. I've never read any of Sam Northman's books before, but this starts off a new series called A Kingdom of Dreams. And I like this one because it's a take on Norse mythology set in present times. So we've got Marcus and Farron, who have been reincarnated from a past life, and they're slowly starting to get those memories back. There is some magic happening in the background, and there's a little bit of like this I know you, but from where kind of thing going on, which I really liked, like this connection. It was a little bit instanty, I will say, once they meet in this lifetime, but that's only because it's backed up by the previous one. And interestingly enough, this one has multiple POVs. Like almost every character, I feel like, has a chapter from their POV. So there's the two main guys, there's a couple of other women that play a big role, and then there's this supporting cast, and you get a couple of POVs from those characters. And normally when there's that many POVs, I get a little bit like lost of like who's talking, what's going on. But Sam did such a great job of moving everything seamlessly. In my opinion, I really enjoyed it. That these POVs, you still knew what was going on and you could follow very well. I'm very much looking forward to seeing how this series continues, because they're kind of pushing for Ragnarok a little bit in a way. Like the balance of the magic is out, and so usually that kicks off Ragnarok, but somebody is trying to stop that and save the magic for themselves. So there's definitely like action, a little bit of violence. It's kind of like, I would say, character driven in a way, but because there's so many POVs, you do have the continuous action going on. So it's always forward moving. And I just like how the mythology kind of weaves its way in there. I think it's very well done. And I highly recommend it, especially if you like Norse mythology. You'll probably get like way more references than I do. I just have dipped my toes in there. I don't know much, but yeah, there's so many references, and I just really like the way that they did it. Next up is fully contemporary, so we're moving on from like the paranormal for now, I will say. Crave is also totally contemporary as well. We've got House of Cards by Courtney Dixon. I really liked this one. This is actually probably one of my favorite Courtney W. Dixon books I've read. I've read a few of hers, and they're normally like good, and I would call them like 4.5 stars, but this one was really like a solid 5 for me. You've got these neighbors, Cal and Seth. Cal is childless, and he poke Sam's buttons a little bit. Sam has adopted like 3, I believe he's got 3 children. They're all siblings, and he was supposed to be raising them with his now ex, who is now out of the picture. Cal has like commitment phobia now due to being cheated on by his past partner, and so both of these guys are kind of like going through their own struggles, their own baggage, until one day when Cal becomes the guardian of his best friend's teenager, and so he like kind of starts to lean on Seth in a way to like figure out how to navigate parenthood. And I really like that, because both of these guys are kind of like working through their baggage. Cal in particular is like, I don't want a relationship. So they build this like solid friendship based on basically being single dads and supporting each other. And Cal still likes to push Seth's buttons as they're building this friendship, but it's like a little bit less malicious. It wasn't terribly malicious before, but like you see how it's more playful as they move through. There is a little trigger warning midway through with Seth and another person he is dating. So please read the content warnings before diving in, just to make sure that it is for you. But overall, I thought the characters were really well done. They're kind of all glued together by Seth's poker nights. He's got like a night, I don't know if they do it weekly or monthly. I think it's monthly, where he goes and meets up with his friends, and they're all single dads, and they all just play poker. They leave their kids, to like babysitters or family, so they can just have a night to themselves. And they're like, that support group is really important. And I really enjoyed just the way it was like all woven together. I think the characters were well done, and the story was emotional in the best way. So if you're looking for just something kind of contemporary and sweet and wholesome, this definitely would fit the bill. Next up, I've talked about this series a ton, and I cannot be not said enough. You must read this series, the Passing Through Cafe series by Nick Knight. And now the latest one is Enchanted by Envy. Focuses on Bryce, who's a human, and Zeph, who's a Mantodea, I believe is how you say it, who's kind of like an insectoid like demon. Again, like the demons are just a series of species. It's not really like a demon themed, even though they've got like these like references to hell, like, pride, envy, lust, greed, all that kind of stuff. But it's not really like, it's kind of like that, but then like with the religious connotations. So Enchanted by Envy is a beautiful representation of both demisexual, which is represented in Bryce, and then an asexual, not sex repulsed, but just not interested in that as all, through Zeph. That Mantodeas just don't have that drive or the organs for that kind of gratification, that kind of physical need in a relationship. And while they're interested in it in a like theoretical discussion, they're not really interested in participating at all. What I loved about Bryce is he's kind of demi, so he's like very much needs that emotional support or emotional connection before kind of triggering it. So like he's very like low on the drive as well. So for him, that is like a non-starter. He's like, I know how to take care of myself. I don't really need that. It's a beautiful like representation of two people seeing each other and being there and being communicative and being what they need and building this relationship that works for them rather than trying to fit into a cultural norm. So both Bryce and Zeph feel like they're kind of like outside in some way. Zeph is like says repeatedly that they are kind of weird for even by Manta Dia standards. But the beautiful line I love by Bryce is just saying he's like you're perfect for me. Like that you're perfect for this. Like it's like even though it's like Zeph is like I'm very comfortable being myself. I know what I want. I don't need anybody or anything to complete me. That Bryce is like a mirror that helps them be better. And I just love that. I just love that notion. They're like Mantadias don't have the idea of soulmates, but they have soul reflections or soul mirrors because they're complete as they are. The other person just expands upon that. And I love that idea so much. These books are full, the whole series is full of found family. Bryce's family is very supportive, but even when he's doing his like internship or whatever in the demon realm and living with Bryce, and that's their roommates, and they slowly form this bond because touch is a very big thing for Mantadia. So it's really cute to see them going from like not touching to like very small touches to hugs. Oh, it was beautiful. He finds his family and people that he didn't really expect to become deep into this friendship group that kind of is brought with Zeph through the cafe. He did know Oliver from high school, but again, it like explains that like they weren't really friends. They kind of were in different groups. But even through the experiences here, like there's a newfound family, and I just cannot explain how important I think this whole series is. Each series is a different, each book I should say is a different couple in the series, but yet they each show a different relationship and how you can still have this fulfilling, loving, supportive partnership in whatever way works for you. I love how they're all different, and honestly, I don't know, like you can't, I think this series just needs to be read by everybody. Just read it, please, 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 please. Start at the beginning and dive your way through. There are, I will say this one, there are like our scenes that are kind of like mentioned and thrown out through each one and in new lights. But this one does have a lot of new experiences. They're kind of moving the timeline along a bit. So I do recommend reading them in order because I feel like you would just understand a little bit more of like where each character is starting from if you do that. But you could probably pick this one up by itself and be okay. There are references for sure, little spoilers for the one right before it. But yeah, I mean, if you're going to start here, please just start at the beginning and read them all. Like you'll binge it. You'll love it. I guarantee it. All right. I talked about The Firm before. We now have Vigilant by Cora Rose and Lark Taylor. I love The Firm. I love these brothers. They're great. It's got that edge of violence and danger to it. Wyatt and Neo are the focus here. Neo is the best friend from the previous story, and Wyatt is the brother of said brothers from the previous stories. This was interesting because Wyatt in the beginning is like, there's no way I'm attracted to Neo. He just bothers the ever-loving everything out of me. he just annoys the crap out of me. He's purposely doing all these pranks just to get under my skin. And then slowly those pranks become a way of like getting him out of his shell a little bit. So like Wyatt keeps himself on a very tight leash. He doesn't want to release this quote unquote monster that he has inside of him. And Neo sees a little bit beyond this. He's like, he knows there's more hidden depths. And so Neo kind of becomes this safe zone for Wyatt to open up and like release and these hidden depths that he's kept so tightly, and a little bit of this pressure valve, if you will. He's like been taking care of the family for so long, and he's held on to this secret that's really important, that he just feels like he had to keep his brothers safe. And I loved how like Neo's like, no, you need to lean on your brothers. They're there for you. They love you. And then at the same time, Wyatt gives Neo a family and support that he's never had. So these sparks that fly between them are well done and very good. I highly, highly recommend the entire series, but I think actually Wyatt and Neo might be my new favorite. I just loved it. I just loved everything about it. I think this is fun. Mostly, like, again, from Wyatt's POV, but you do get a few Neo. I think a little bit more Neo than in the past. Good. A little bit dark, mafia style. They're not mafia, but they could be. And it's just a fun read. It's just, if you want to walk on the morally gray side, pick up The Firm. You'll enjoy yourself. Last but not least, we're ending on a very happy, almost bubbly note with Hox Axe by May Archer. This is the second in the series, focuses on the Axe brothers. I did not read the first one. Had no trouble following along with this one. I do want to go back and read the first one, but I'll do that another time. I love May Archer as an author. She's phenomenal at writing characters. She's got this character Constantine from, I believe it's The Deal. If you want to start somewhere, I think it's Love and O'Leary. I highly recommend it. Very cute small town series. She's very good at writing overall like happy and heartwarming stories with complex characters. So the characters themselves have depth. And in this one, we have two best friends who know each other inside and out. And one of them's keeping a secret. So we have Ames and Robbie. Ames has been in love with Robbie since the dawn of time, basically, essentially. They've been friends since, like, I don't know, I want to say since they were 8 years old, something really, really young. And as soon as Ames has been in love with Robbie since he realized it. And Robbie is about to get married to this woman, and he's such a people pleaser. He's just kind of going along with it. And Ames likes to push a little bit and just be like, but are you doing what you want? And it's interesting watching Robbie start to unpack his life. There's like a big scene, and makes Robbie challenge a lot of his viewpoints on what he sees for his future and what is important to him. And that's kind of when the vibe changes. And I love how, like, once Robbie is like, no, I now know, I can't believe I didn't see it ahead of me, but I know what I want. And it's Ames. And I love how, that even though Ames has been in love with Robbie for so long, once he finally is able to get what he wants, it's a little bit like, I never thought, wait, what? I never thought that this would come. And it's like a little bit, he has to change now his own perspective of the relationship between the two. So it's nice that, like, they have something very special in this deep friendship bond that they're able to pull on, like, when they know each other and their responses, that, like, Robbie's like, I know what you're doing, and I'm gonna let you freak out. And then I'm gonna be like, then you're gonna see how stubborn I can be, I'll let you have your freak out moment. I'm gonna let you get in your head, and then I'm gonna pull you out of it, and we're gonna work on this, and we're gonna talk. The communication is there, but there's also a little bit of, I'd say a tiny bit of non-communication, just because Ames is so resistant, even though he's not. It's like an interesting, like, this, like, he's resisting getting closer to Robbie because he's afraid of everything changing, even though that's what he's wanted forever. And now that he's finally getting it, it's like, damn, do I deserve this? And then, don't we all feel that way sometimes when you finally get what you want? You're like, no, this can't be happening, and you kind of sabotage it a little bit. Oh, that happens a tiny bit, but overall, this is a really good story. Any of the angst, for the most part, comes outside. These guys have kind of like a high risk job. Well, Robbie has a high risk job. He works as the fire chief. Ames is a volunteer firefighter there, but he also owns this restaurant. So there's like that kind of like pressure outside in the job. This comes with the classic May Archer, witty dialogue, fun side characters, a large family. They all poke fun of and make fun of each other at the dinner table. It's just a lot of fun. And if you just need something that's kind of like light and uplifting, check out this one by May Archer. I think you'll enjoy it. All right. Let me know in the comments what you're reading, what you want me to read. Anything that if you've taken my suggestions, I would love to know if you've like found a new author. Put that all in the comment section below. I will see you guys next month. Thank you guys so much. Have a good one and take care. Bye.